Ladies and gentlemen, welcome! Took a little bit longer than expected. LGD was missing the last player, but they're here now. They get a little bit of reserve time docked off as a punishment. But this is game number 1 in this best of 2 between VG Gaming and LGD in the rest of today's Dota 2 Professional League action. The DAC waiting room, as it's also come to be known, I suppose, at least these days. DAC is just so close. Also the reason why we had to shift the schedule around a little bit because of the IG squads. But hey, we're here now. My name is Dragon Job. Happy to bring you this match. And I'm also joined, at least for the first series here, by Skim Gaming. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me again. I'm looking forward to this series. You could argue that this is a series, possibly the two best teams that didn't, the two best Chinese teams that didn't make it to the Kiev Major, maybe. I mean, VG Gaming was really close to it. They placed third. They just failed against
Yeah.
IG and LGD. Sure, they didn't even make it to the playoffs, but if they had, I think LGD would have been one of the better teams there. So,
I mean,
who
they've been
knows?
they've been scraping around the edges of these bigger tournaments, so this makes I think this tournament especially more important for them, right? You look at VG Gaming; they've been bursting through their games, even surpassing Newbie now. Sitting at 12 and 2, while Newbie sitting at 11 and 3. So VG Gaming right now sitting at the top spot. LGD, uh, not so much. They're sitting at 7 and 3. So they haven't played as many games just yet, but this is the danger zone, right? They need to ideally win a couple of extra games to make sure that you make the cutoff at the top 6 slots to make it through to the playoffs. So this game and the next one up against CDC, definitely important steps on that particular path. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna be especially interesting because LGD, this is their new squad, or same new squad, but they do have Old 11 now, of course. They replaced XZ with Old 11 from eHome just a few days ago.
Yeah.
I'm checking right now if they played their first match. No. So yeah, their first series in DPL they played with XZ still, and well, they played two series now with Old 11 already. They won one versus FTDC, which is to be expected because it's FTDC.
Yeah.
And they tied a series versus Wings Gaming, so it's a promising start, and I think this will, this is another milestone or another test for them to see how they fare up against the competition with this squad, and if this is something they can do long term, or if perhaps maybe they need to do more roster changes.
Yep. I mean, this game especially is a great way to kind of try and profile yourself by doing well up against one of the top dogs in the league. So if they can snag a point off EG Gaming here, that would definitely make a statement and would be pointing towards a brighter future for LGD in the days ahead. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's talk about the draft a little bit here. See some Chinese Dota standards. The Nyx Assassin first pick, and then the Slada Crystal Maiden also making an appearance, and the Dazzle in first phase. That's a little bit unusual, though.
There's actually something really interesting between those two squads. They both like playing puck, something that we don't really see from many other teams. And I hope that will. I'm actually surprised that none of these two have picked it just yet, because I think both of them would love to play it. Both maybe and Ori are really good puck players, and if you look at their drafts that in the recent past, they've loved prioritizing it in the second pick phase. So I'm wondering if this is something that VG Gaming is thinking about now, or if they think, all right, they have the Spirit and the Nyx Assassin, we do not want to play puck against that.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder then if LGD then think, hey, they only have the Crystal Maiden, really. Slaughter is not that big of an issue. This is a good puck game. We don't need to pick it third. We can pick it fourth, because we know if they do pick the puck, they pick it into Nyx and Earth Spirit.
Yeah, those are not heroes that you like to play around if you can help it, if you have any choice at all. I mean, it's definitely possible but it just puts on so much pressure on you. It really cuts down on the room for error that you have, and this is something that can make it harder, especially if you're starting to fall behind a little bit, perhaps, and you don't have a lot of room to work with anyway. So they're definitely taking some time to think about it. Uh, They could
Yeah,
also
for
go
both.
back for something more like physical damage oriented. They already have the Weaver bugs to do that together with the Slaughter. Lifesteal has been banned out in first phase. The classic combo is not available for them. So maybe something like a Snipe out of mid. Do they run that?
Ooh, Omni
Oh,
Knight.
Omni.
I haven't seen too much Sniper, but what they do love running, and I'm not sure if that would work out with the Weaver. They do love running the Ursa. They I think it is one of N's more favorite heroes, the Ursa.
Yeah.
Which they, this is something that Chinese teams sort of started to come up with. If Lashla is banned, you just go for the Ursa. He kind of fills a similar role. It's a strength carry that is very self-sufficient, that can fight gank early on, but can also harass the offlaner and can be really strong in the laning stage.
Ursa's agility though, isn't he?
Oh right, yeah,
He's still tanky
he's
enough, right, with his
all
ultimate.
right. That's what I was trying to get at. Not
Yeah.
because of his attributes, but rather because he's a tanky core that
Yeah.
is very self-sufficient.
He's not strength, but he's very strong regardless.
Right,
I
right.
think that's the best way to put it.
Ooh,
Okay.
we have a
Might
Naga
be in it for the
Siren.
long haul here, because it looks like that's going to be a core Naga. Or the
I
middle lane,
don't think I've ever
perhaps.
seen maybe play the Naga, so I'm not sure if this is actually going to be a mid Naga, or well, if it's going to be maybe Naga. I should think
Yeah.
that's an Ame hero, but I would have to check that.
Well, they have the bands to work with and
Yeah,
can still decide.
it's not a
Unfortunately,
maybe
yeah,
hero for sure.
yeah. So last pick anyway to pick up another mid hero and then just put the Naga in a safe lane.
I love
And
them.
Lena,
I
okay,
love the
nice.
Venomancer, man. Even though LGD picked the Lina really quickly, I do think that Venomancer could have fit that lineup quite nicely.
Yep.
Venomancer together with the Naga Siren is really nasty when you want to take high ground. It's a really good siege with the illusions, with the wards. It's really just
Yep.
difficult for Vici Gaming to get in there and destroy those.
It's also not a lot of fun with the heroes that you have. I mean, Kristen Vane just dies to the combo. Slada is also not the best. Because especially if he wants to be sprinting around, constantly taking that damage over time, and even the Weaver, right? You can time lapse, but you cannot get rid of that Poison Nova debuff. So if you time lapse too early, you're still gonna take a whole lot of damage. But
Yeah, and Omni Knight is not a good defensive large AoE
yeah,
damage. He's a good hero
yeah,
that can prevent like a single that can save
yeah.
like a single core.
You can keep
But
one safe, but if
yeah,
you want to keep
exactly.
everyone safe, you need to have maybe something like a Rubik with the aura, or like a mech builder, something like that, pipe builder especially.
All right.
Might actually need to do that this game, but the Phantom Assassin running on VG Gaming's lineup, so that's that physical damage aspect that we were talking about. Also able to jump in after the slaughter on any target that he initiates on once he
It's
gets the lane
gonna
there.
be it's gonna be pretty difficult though for Vici Gaming in the lane game because their
Yep.
heroes do not do well unless Phantom Assassin builds into something like a Battle Fury or a Maelstrom. But even then, it's not really efficient to clear those illusions just then. Um, Especially with the Radiance Burn, Phantom Assassin does not want to build. Yeah, you want to build a BKB, but still going to be really annoying because Lina, her axe does go through BKB, obviously. They have a lot of physical damage as well with the Dazzle Weave and then Shadow Wave.
Yep.
So this is something that, I really like LGD's lineup. I think it's very rounded, but I think Vici Gaming will have to play a bit more aggressively in the early game to
Yep.
make sure that they have a good late game.
They have the right tools for it, right? They're well set up with the heroes that they have. They can go for some really strong dual lanes even.
Right, right.
So it's gonna be PA mid didn't actually catch who picked it up, but yeah, it's make the most sense and then some dual lanes with Slat Omni Knight perhaps. And Weaver, of course, yeah, and playing that one. Very self-sufficient safe laner that doesn't need a whole lot of support to stay alive and get CS.
I will say though that if you're old 11, I think this is potentially a good lane for you if the Crystal Maiden doesn't show up here. 1v1, I think Nyx Assassin versus a Weaver is not too bad for the Nyx Assassin just because
Yep.
his armor is pretty good. I mean, he starts with 4 armor. That's pretty nice. Then he doesn't start with 4 armor. I think he has less, but because of the agility that he has now
Yep.
with the Pigment Shield, he's at 4 armor. That's pretty good for him.
4 armor, put shield itself, and then the 4 base region that you have just makes for a really good lane in these kind of situations. So End alone will probably not be able to zone him out for a long time. So he's got to get his levels, and Nyx with a quick level 6 can make stuff happen across the map. Even though you don't have that big mana burn target, just the setup and the burst damage from the ultimate. Unless you're going on PA and you miss that hit, that'd be a bit unfortunate, but anyone else, a little bit easier. But yeah. Armor on a Naga Siren on bottom here. We're having to deal with Yang. But a Pullman shield of his own, so yeah, it is that classic 4 position slaughter. Alright. She's gonna do quite some damage here, actually. Yao with the body blocks. Poison touch also already skilled. Getting so many right clicks in.
He can use it again, in fact.
Yeah.
That's pretty annoying.
It's only 1v1 though. Yang is trading very well if Yao is making use of his mobility. Even as has the same movement speed now as the poison touch slow wears out. I guess once Dazzle hits level 2, we're gonna have the heal available as well. But even then, Omni Knight's heal is a little bit better if you can use it in these kind of brawling situations.
And Omni Knight ran through much more region.
Yeah.
He only has one tango left.
Yeah, that's true. They're really trying to abuse that, and they will. Might have to shrine up already.
A rune here, yeah. Shrine. I might force out a shrine here. But that's good that HYM is following up.
Yeah.
They could. Can they kill him with a body block, maybe?
Yeah, they can. They can easily. Body blocks here, trying to pass around, but the first blood going the way of VG Gaming. Now another crush on Army. He'll be zoned out a little bit after all. Well, it's just a case of not really accounting for the slaughter, and then just being caught by the creep wave, adding a bit of extra damage.
Classic case of debated.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a good kill for them though, because like we pointed out, Yang was... It looked to be really rough. He will have to shrine up regardless, but at least he got the experience from that kill. He's level 2 now, has boots, I think. Boots and 400 gold to spare. Oh no, never mind. Wait, who was I looking at? No, he does have boots now, right?
Yeah, just pick it up. Starla has the boots and 400 gold to spare now.
Oh,
500 would be good.
Was it even? Oh. Either way, it's pretty good for them. And they made sure that they use the shrine as efficiently as possible. HYM also using a lot of it as HP and mana.
Yep. So
both of them full HP again.
Well, up top, M99 trying to do the same thing to the Crystal Maiden here, at the very least zoning DDC away from the lane and away from the rune. As a result, DDC is actually still level 1, 2 minutes in. Now has to go a little bit deep into the jungle to remedy that situation.
Yeah, but that's fine though. He needed to help this lane a little bit to make sure that the Weaver gets a little bit of a head start.
Yeah.
And like you said, Crystal Maiden, he can always find the jungle. He can always just fall back into the jungle. He just needs to make sure that the Earth Spirit doesn't find her.
Alright, okay. Bottom lane, maybe something going on. Especially with Yang rotating through, they might be able to turn this around. Yao, stun comes through with the what's it called? Keep forgetting, but the purification damage coming through.
Yeah.
A lot of burst damage
rough,
coming out.
Yeah. Yang has to be really careful. He cannot just pull by himself like this. I know that he wants to pull to make sure that, you know, Alma has a better lane, but I think he should realize by now that Slaughter and Omni Knight can kill him quite handily as well.
He needs to play way more defensively if he doesn't know where HYM is.
He needs to soak up for level 2 as well. If he has a Grave, sure, he can try and pull something like that, but without Shallow Grave or his heal, I don't think he should be there at all. Alright, he's level 2 now. Should be a bit safer.
And nice usage of the illusion root for maybe just send it over to the side here. Scouting out that HYM was around.
Yeah, and they had a ward as well. They knew that he was rotating in a little bit. Yeah. So this is actually really good ward just because they know that that's a Slaughter. They'll see most of his movement.
Should probably figure out that he's waiting for the rune here now. This is actually enough to put him to level 3. Yeah, just enough. So he's doing well for himself, but yeah. Let's talk about the top lane, especially Weaver, because that's the second time I've seen this now with the first item magic wand straight out of the gate for safe lane Weaver like this. What do you think about that? Because it goes against every fiber of my being to pick that up against not a Batrider and not a Zeus.
It's just good stats. You would have wanted branches anyway. Stats for the Weaver because he wants more mana in the early game as well to, you know, use his spells more efficiently.
Don't you want to start going into Basilius then instead?
Nah, I think that's too expensive, honestly, because you want the magic wand at some point anyway, just because if you're a Weaver, the magic wand is one of the probably better early game items that you can have. Because it gives you that extra boost when you get caught out, for example. You know, you get caught out and you want magic wand at time lapse again. That burst heal is just really efficient on the Weaver because he has such a low HP and mana pool.
Okay. Ooh, Yang down bottom. Definitely starting to go ham now. Level 5 already.
Yeah, this bottom lane is not working out for them really. For LGD, that is. They're giving way too much to Yang. They can't really zone him out because Yao died twice and then Yang has
Top lane, a
completely
bit of a
outleveled
tussle
him.
coming in, maybe rotating through as VG tried to go for a play, but with a crush, able to turn this around. Maybe ultimately with the wasted rotation. It's a magic
Yeah,
wand of his own. It's a little bit more more reasonable, of course, with the dagger spam.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to go mid lane with their spirit onto the Ori yet. I mean, I know that that Victoria has been lurking around the mid lane a little bit and trying to find an opening, but I think they could have tried to commit like a smoke and gone on Ori. Because Ori is now level 6 on... Yeah, he's level 6 basically. And it gets a bit scary from level 6 onwards, because if he turns on you, there's always that, you know, scare of him just critting you to death.
It's still not much more survivable, even if it's level 6. So if you have the control to actually keep him in place for a little bit, then Lina should be able to nuke him down no problem. So with Dragon Slave, Laguna Blade, any sort of setup will do the trick.
Victoria is also only level 2 just yet.
Okay.
I'm about to hit level 3. Oh no, he just hit level 3, alright. So, in terms of, you know, which roamer was more efficient, I think, or more effective, I think we can agree that it was HYM.
Absolutely. Only slightly ahead of levels, but already 2 kills to his name. Down the bottom lane. Now there's a roll in, that will miss. Crystal Maiden also is here, so you gotta try and turn this around here. Nice little stun. And Light Strike Array from maybe. And to tag it. That was literally 3 health points, wasn't it?
Yep.
Holy hell.
If Ori had an Orb of Venom, that would have been a kill.
Yeah.
Orb of Venom, Blightstone, either of those items would have netted them kill just now. I'm honestly surprised that he didn't go for it. I think it's one of the better items to have on a PA early game. It's such efficient harassment as well.
Yep.
He does throw out the daggers anyway, though I guess he hasn't really been harassing maybe too much. He's been trying to focus on last hitting. And if you're focus on last hitting, I guess you don't really need it.
One common way, though, would still be the Blightstone that you want to pick up at some point. You can easily have it
right
out
for
to
the
Kara,
later.
especially on mid. But so far, it's just focusing on face boots instead.
They know that maybe he's really far out. I think they can go for this, potentially.
They can, yeah, maybe on the wrong high ground.
Alright, with Crystal Maiden now, that might be... Oh, DDC?
Maybe. Almost got the kill here. He wants to go for it now, so DDC will have to bait him with his own life. Trying to hide in the trees. That's not gonna happen. And now, trying to bait out a Light Strike Array is HYM.
That was really awkward.
Yeah.
For DDC. He's like,
guys?
Oh, I guess he saw me. Oh, shit. Maybe if I hide in these trees. Oh.
Like, if he had frostbitten, HYM, if he was already slithering up, they could have got the follow-up.
Old 11 is so low. HYM can smell him, but he can't get to him. And Yang gets a tower. That is incredible. 8 minutes in, he gets a tier 1 tower.
Yao's kind of been left alone here now. He's trying to walk away, but DDC says no to that. HYM with another crush whenever he wants it. Trying to time it to counter out any potential shallow graves. Didn't even have mana for it though. At this bottom lane, it's far from being the safe lane in this game for LGD. So guess this is why AIM also decided to retreat into the jungle with the Iron Talon.
It's really weird though, because I think he could have stayed in lane much more against the Omni Knight, but I guess Yang was playing more aggressively than Ame really liked. I will say that he applied Yang applied a lot of pressure. He knew that he can, because there's not a lot they can do really. Naga Siren early levels is not that strong. Her illusions died to purification pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
And the Riptide is a nice harassment, but it's not enough to really zone out an Omni Knight.
Yeah, especially on an Omni Knight with this kind of an early start that he had. So you got these extra levels in, making the purification so much more efficient in terms of both heal as well as harass. So it gave him so much potential to trade so well and do so much work. And now top lane, nice little initial stun follow from M99 and maybe also smoked up with the rest of them. Well executed gank on the Weaver, and now can it turn this into tower? Maybe.
Pretty crazy actually. I think End was aware that they were smoking for him, but he tried to because he tried playing really safe just then, and then he just peeks for 1 second and that stun hits and it's over. It was just really well executed, like you said.
This VG. Might be looking for some revenge. They smoked up themselves. DDC leading the charge. Ori at the ready. Level 8 at this point, so looking for these lucky crits, but M99 on the high ground. Sees them coming now. Can he stop it here? One stone will hit in the backlines. Rolls to the other way. They still catch up to maybe. Still is Laguna Blade, so if he had some amount of help, they could have maybe bursted one down, but that would have required Old 11 to reveal himself, which would probably lead to another kill. So they're just cutting the losses, realizing that they've lost this particular rotation. Leave maybe to die. Meanwhile in mid, HYM going in deep, pushing, being pushed back by M99, so misses the crush. Now Old 11 makes the full wraparound. HYM smells it though. That's exactly what's going on.
That's a good sentry
Especially
for
with that
them,
sentry, yeah.
for both of them now. But good thing for VG Gaming, they decided to push the tower. And this is some good tempo that both.
Now TP mid, well-timed stun, and now maybe he's back. He has the Laguna Blade, can easily blow him up, and there it is. So that TP, a little bit ill-advised, considering that LGD is here on force, and now Yang has to repel himself. Also went for the Midas build, too. Get these extra levels up.
It's really good. You definitely want those levels on an Omni Knight as soon as possible.
Yep.
They're really good as well. The 100 damage at level 20, I think, is super underrated.
I mean, 100 damage or 6 mana regen. Like, this is not even a choice, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd take the 100 damage any day. Either way, yeah, that was a big mistake from Ori to just TP in front of that. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to, you know, possibly scare them away, or either maybe even if they do want to engage, they force a fight. But he would have he had to realize that his Omni Knight would TP in much later because, you know, that's just how TPs work.
It was even daytime, so I think they saw most of the LGD here.
Oh
so
yeah,
you gotta figure that.
Definitely saw them.
So you gotta figure that you're gonna be chain stunned. You're not gonna get to play your hero if you TP in like that. But now, smoke up, Ult 11 leading with a stun, and that's an extra kill, just like that.
This is not good for Vici Gaming. The LGD squad is pacing through them pretty much. They're finding these kills that they shouldn't, just because they're just playing really well around the map. Their smoke timing was really good.
Find
Literally
another
just
one
hit
here,
my time.
and the stairs sounds up. They do not have detection, but they land the light strike array follow-up stun. Did they actually see him or did they not? Because they're playing like they did. They get the kill without the time maps could come off. So Yang,
no invitation.
Yeah. Well, Ori comes in. Yao, Shellgrave TP, nothing to cancel that, I believe, unless DDC has a frostbite. So he will fall, but he created enough space for the rest of his team to get the hell out, unless M99. Unless he gets tracked down by HYM, throws down a crush. But I don't think you can kill him without help, and this is why DDC TP'd in. Has another frostbite, that is. Just on the high ground, another crush, should be there soon, and he will not make it to the fountain. So the two supports take his build, but you still gotta book it as a victory for LGD, because they keep finding these kills on crucial targets. And they're doing it as 4 heroes. Ame, he was not part of any of that. He's still 0-0-0. Plenty of space for him to start going towards the Radiance. And he is only 400 gold away from the Relic now.
Yeah, I think you'll hear us say that a lot more often this game. Space created, really, because LGD, they forced everybody from Vici Gaming into the dire jungle. They killed the enemy carry, and they only lose the 2 supports, and in return, they give basically almost a Radiance to Ame.
Contest Roshi, Nyx Assassin. Nice little double stun here. Follow up there from maybe. And the stone hits on 3 or 4 heroes. Silent to follow. Laguna Blade on 1. Ori chased away at the very least, even though they can't finish him off right now. And now Omni Knight comes through with a Guardian Angel just to maybe give LGD pause, but now he's isolating himself from the rest of his team. Follow-up stun is there. And that'll be yet another kill on the offlaner. VG Gaming not quite done yet, but Old 11's just building up so much control out of mana now until he gets mana boots. Has another couple of spells to try and take care of the Weaver. If he's not silenced, then he can time lapse, and well, should be alright right now. Ori, HYM, even buyback from Yang. They really want to make this fight work. Nice little double crush now. Might lose a couple of heroes here, maybe trying to go for a TP. Plenty of damage though to stop that. Yao, Ult 11, also being cleaned up as they finally ran out of mana and out of things to throw at VG Gaming, who, well, you could feel the anger there, I guess, perhaps. They really wanted to make that fight work, and they're not done yet, indeed. And this is a really, really big kill if you can get this Naga side and gets the song off. No TP scroll though, so you have to walk away. There's a blink on start in another couple of seconds. Definitely looking for an Ori if he gets vision.
They want this
Then
so
aim
badly.
is dead, and that is Blink Crush, and still alive, still alive. Maybe it's Eternus here, and they get the Slider. Ori committing deep, finally getting the kill, and the repel, blocking the Laguna Blade. Yang with the plays, gets stunned up now, but he's still winning this fight, unless Victoria can do something crazy here. No Magnetize available, so just have to brawl with what they've got, but they're losing their cores faster than they can afford to. Now, once again, Earth Spirit trying to TP out, and this time, again, DDC with a Frostbite. They got, what, like 7, 8 kills in a row or something silly? They haven't lost all that much.
7, I believe. 7, I believe.
Oh, they're even fighting out 11 here! The random dust! And now, Spike Carapace, not enough to save him. Gets a nice little stun off, but Yang, absolute monster. Getting an extra kill.
They've been fighting
So
for
much
literally
bloodshed.
4 minutes now.
Yeah. This all started around the Roche pit, if you even remember that still.
Yeah, pretty much. That was crazy. That was really crazy. Yang bought back in between, and but LGD, like you pointed out, they kept Vici Gaming in this game by just fighting so long until LGD even ran out of resources.
Yep.
I think the only way that Vici can kill them is, in fact, if they do have these long, drawn-out fights and when Vici can chase.
Yep.
Because otherwise, I think LGD have the advantage in a 5v5 fight. They have the disables, they have the crowd control.
Yep.
If Vici Gaming doesn't hit the stun from HYM, they basically have no disable.
Yep.
I mean, I guess they have the Crystal Main Frostbite, but that's pretty much it.
It's been doing some work for them, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, right. He's been canceling a lot of TPs.
Yeah. They're
Oh, they
if
smoked
you look
underneath
at
the ward.
oh god no. Well, LGD seeing that coming, so they shouldn't be called out by that. M99, good position here just to break the smoke. Dust comes through, and they actually find him with the bugs. Oh, do they? No, they're not quite connecting, but the body block! And the crits come out. Mistakes were made. It was a cute idea, but he ends up taking his life anyway. VG Gaming with the right game sense and the smelling him inside the trees, which are not safe at all in this day and age. Alt 11, gotta be careful here. That's the sentry ward, and they see him just on the edge. Now walks back into it. HYM will be able to get that ulti on top of him. Alt 11 will fall, and this is VG Gaming getting so much momentum. And LGD, well, I think they have the Radiance now. Curry actually died between all of that here with the Sacred Relic from AIM, so he'll pick it up only now. But is it too late already?
I wouldn't say too late, but it's getting a bit late. VG Gaming, they still have 2 tier 2 towers to go, and going high ground is going to be difficult just because of Song, because of all the crowd control that they do have, you know, the stuns, the Durian Slave. So I do think it's a bit difficult for VG to take high ground without a BKB on either end or Ori, but it is getting a bit difficult for LGD now to get map control. Ame will be able to farm, that's just the nature of a Naga Siren, but for everybody else, it's going to be really difficult to find that little bit of resource.
We see that at network distribution. Ame is up at the top, then the 3 core heroes for side of VG Gaming just because of all of this fighting. Especially if you look at the network graph. Over the stretch of these 4 couple of minutes was a straight downward turn because VG got kill after kill after kill. Enabling that and just putting the cores in a better position to compared to the next highest farmer on LGD, which is Lina.
Yeah, look at these
still
items.
Has Bloodstone, so maybe he's not doing so badly himself, but he can only do so much.
It's also good for maybe that he picked up the Bloodstone now after the place, because otherwise he would be sitting at what, 6 Bloodstone charges, 4 maybe. But yeah, if you look at the items that are coming out from VG, they're looking to fight even more. They have drums on the Omni Knight, and they're gonna pick up a Desolator on the Phantom Assassin. They just want more blood.
Well, Lincoln's is being purchased up by End after Dragonlance, so a little bit more survivability for him. Trying to block, maybe something like the Laguna Blade if you can.
Well, they find Old 11.
Oh no, he's steeping out the guess wrong.
They know he was there.
Yeah. This time he gets away with it, with his life, just barely.
This is actually pretty good for LG. There was a lot of time wasted for VG Gaming, and the smoke as well. And if you look at how LGD is moving, all right, all of them are down there. Let's just all head into their own jungle. We'll just push out the top wave. And this is really good for LGD. If they can spread the map like this, and sure, they will lose a tier 2 tower for this, but if they can even damage the other tier 2 tower in return, that is a really good trade for them.
Yeah, not just damaging one, he also have an Arc Illusion with a couple seconds left here to help burn through this extra creep wave. They're going to do damage to 2 tier 2 towers in exchange. Unless someone responds. So if you're behind like this, if you've just taken a devastating series of team fights and skirmishes, then this is a good trade for LGD if you can make a second, if you don't die here. Yang,
Oh,
well,
Yang,
he was already
they missed the
repelled.
stun?
I think he was already repelled when he TP'd in.
Oh, was he already repelled?
Yeah.
Alright. Then
Didn't see
they've
him
learned the
cast
lesson.
it. Yeah. Well, now it's LGD on a run. Can VG Gaming catch up to them? And definitely can. But the song comes through from AIM.
They want to fight this? Oh, no, alright.
They don't really want to fight this, I think.
Yeah.
He just didn't have a TP scroll for himself. So had to stand there for a little while longer. The stun from Old 11, exposing himself.
Well.
Now TPing out and will be able to actually. No vision to cancel it for DDC this time around.
See, this is why you get Old 11 for your team. I guess we haven't really commented on it, but Old 11 is, you know, it's just a really good player. For eHome, he was one of their anchors, I guess, or not in a negative way, obviously, but he was one of their key players.
Yeah.
And he brings out a lot of experience, a lot of quality, and I think in this game especially, I think we've seen a lot of his skill. He's nailed some really crucial impales. Like that 3-man impale was also really good.
Save the rest of his team for sure. Now, top lane, VG Gaming thinking that there might be someone hiding in the trees again. As they're setting up for this tier 2. There's a full 5-man rotation, meanwhile LGD doing the best they can. It's farming the jungle, farming the mid lane here in the case of Old 11. He doesn't have a TP scroll though, so he has to waddle his way all the way back as VG Gaming start to poke high ground a little bit.
Yeah, that's not great. That neither maybe nor. But the good thing is for VG Gaming, they don't know and just because they don't know where maybe is, for example. They don't know where Old 11 is, so they have to assume that they were there at least.
Not a whole lot of vision in the Dice jungle. They only just got planted down this ward at the shrine. Accidentally pinged that out, so I'm sorry about that. You want to ping a ward next to a shrine, and it automatically pings the shrine. It's so annoying.
Right, it does actually, yeah.
Hopefully I don't get yelled at. Anyway. LGD trying to solve this with smokes. Smoking kills. Ideally the other team. So. And yeah, we've seen it before, right? If they can get the initiation off, then they have enough chain control to kill pretty much anyone still at this point, unless Yang has something to say about it. Now Ori revealing himself in mid here, M99 strolls through, and the edge just absolutely annihilated. No compromises, Laguna Blade here for the last 5 health points.
Victoria with a really crucial silence. He immediately silenced the Omni Knight because Omni Knight was about to repel Ori. If he repels Ori there, that could have been a really good fight for VG Gaming because they invested a lot of spells into them.
Stance looks like they might be even be able to get the tower here. AIM sitting in the backline, just spamming some of these illusions, being very pesky here, maybe even canceling some of these blink daggers, especially on Salada. Yeah, so yeah, they do get the tier 2 tower for free, kind of thrown in. VG Gaming being unable to actually counter it out.
Yeah, LGD doing all the right moves. They slowed down the game. They made sure that, you know, the momentum that VG Gaming had was kind of taken down pretty much. And just suddenly, if you look at the net worth, maybe a second in command.
Yep. This is the position that Alina wants to be in. Bloodstone going. And also, I mean, the cool thing about having this kind of item build and this talent build too, you went for minus 30 second respawn time, on the core Alina, means that you don't have to expend buyback, and you still have multiple lives to throw in a base defense, essentially. Because you're going to respawn in a couple of seconds.
Right, we saw it yesterday when they
it's...
threw the Lina towards the tower just to...
Yeah,
alright,
pretty much.
We want this. And more so than that, just... I mean, that is obviously a really important factor, but I think more so than that, if you die on the Lina, say in a team fight, or if you're trying to be really aggressive when trying to gank somebody, if you die, you don't cost your team a Rex.
Yeah.
We've seen it as well yesterday. If you die in a core hero without a buyback and you're dead for 60, 80 seconds, that can be enough for the enemy team to just push in and take the racks, or at least some sort of objective. And for Alina, this, especially since she's really squishy, I think this is a really good talent on a court.
Yeah.
I think we've seen a lot of heroes already put it to good use.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these kind of talents that's probably intended for the supports more than anything else. See, like, heroes like Lion as well having these kind of talents, but then they also found their way in some of these heroes that can easily be played as a core, and it can turn into a bit of an issue on some of them. That's also one of the reasons why Lone Druid was so good, in conjunction with like the range as well as the damage. So everything that he had essentially in terms of talents was geared towards making the actual hero an absolute menace to deal with. And yeah, they're using it well right now when Roshan was taken. Push out all lanes, of course, as you can do with a Naga Siren. And maybe was the only one really showing bottom, also putting on more heavy pressure on the tower, taking down a tier 1. And they're making the best out of it because they realize Naga needs more time. And once Naga gets farmed, it's going to get harder and harder for VG Gaming to keep winning team fights even.
Yeah, the issue for VG Gaming is though that they can't really spread the map. They can't really afford to farm by themselves. If you look at how they've been moving for the past, I think 10 minutes now, they've been grouped up. So DDC can never move by himself because if he ever moves by himself, he's dead.
Yeah.
The old 11, maybe all of them, or even the Earthspirit can be a real threat towards that Crystal Maiden. So they never really move by themselves, and it hurts them net worth wise. If you look at just how the net worth graph has progressed, that it's going back into LGD, or it's going back to even at some point. LGD is just doing a really good job of making sure they farm on everybody, or at least on 4 heroes. And if you look at the items that they have, I mean, Old 11 also went back to the Midas. It's, you know, it's a natural item to pick up on an Assassin these days after the Blink Dagger, but it helped him farm a lot. Maybe has been farming a lot. He suddenly now has a Yule Scepter out of Boots of Travel as well. It's not like, if this game keeps progressing in this direction, I think VG Gaming is going to find themselves in troubles because it's going to be really difficult for them to push high ground when they don't have an advantage.
Yeah. Then comes down to basically trying to catch LGD off guard and expose themselves when they get a pick off beforehand on a crucial hero. Today we also talked about that. I mean, Baby is kind of invulnerable to that, with or without buyback. Aim also actually very hard to kill, because you talked about it before, you don't actually have a lot of lockdown. All you have is the Slaughter, really. And it's not good enough to prevent a song on a tanky Naga Siren for too long.
Right, and at some point you also have to ask yourself how you're going to deal with illusions.
Yeah.
Which is something we talked about in the draft. End has already sort of worked towards that by picking up a Maelstrom, which is nice. But it's going to be really difficult for the support non-core heroes to really deal with them. Even an Omni Knight is not going to have a nice time with the Naga illusions. Sure, he's not going to die because of them, but it's going to be really difficult to deal with them in general. They're going to burn his mana at some point as well. So again, the longer this game goes, the more difficult it's going to be for VG Gaming.
They not even shows right now.
Run out
exactly.
Well.
They have the Aegis, they've had it for a while, but they cannot really make use of it, because LGD have so many great ways of pushing out the lanes. Even though VG Gaming, they want to be the ones who are aggressive, want to play in the Radiant side of the map, they just don't get to because of this. Nagaside also going straight for the Octarine after the casual Yasha, so there'll be more mirror images and tanky illusions.
Yeah, they were probably waiting for Ori's BKB, because I think they realized in the last fight that they can't really push anything without a BKB. And with this, I hope they will go for a team fight or some sort of objective, but the Aegis is gonna run out, I think, before they even really force anything.
It's a minute or so, a minute or two. They're moving rather slowly across the map here, just checking for wards in the meantime. So again, LGD just dodging, the lines being drawn. Don't think they caught, don't think they saw the 11 here in mid though.
Ideally, they want to pick off before they can really push into. But the way LGD has been playing, they really won't give them any.
Right now, Victoria doesn't actually have a TP for another 20 seconds. But...
Alright, look at this illusion mid. It took them 2 seconds to kill it, which is, it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you have like 4 illusions, that's gonna be a lot of stalling.
Yeah, 2 seconds is enough time to walk up to the creep wave and press your, what's it called, the Riptide. That plus a little bit of Radiance Burn is gonna deal with them quite nicely. Yeah, one creep survived, they got one auto attack off in the tower. That's about it. Meanwhile, up top, maybe he's just going ham, gets a tier 2 of his own. 3k gold in back now, and he's looking for an Aghanim Scepter, so this repel, this BKB, is not necessarily even going to save Phantom Assassin from now on.
Look how they're all hunting this, or all running back now, just because of that Lina, and they won't find her. The Aegis has been expired, or has been reclaimed, I should say, and now Vici Gaming just fall back into the jungle and trying to farm up, because without the Aegis, it doesn't make sense to push high ground now. You don't have the Aegis.
Yeah.
Maybe look for a kill here, potentially, but again, LGD has been playing really safe. It's going to be really difficult to find an opening.
Same time, they're gonna be experienced enough to feel the pressure, right? Any minute that goes by, you're thinking, alright, there's a Naga Siren in this game. There's more and more time, and any minute that we waste, or that we have to play passive and defensive like that, is another minute where AIM is getting closer to his next item.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder how much or how pressured they do feel right now, because they have experience playing against Naga Siren. They've experience playing Naga Siren themselves.
HYM finds AIM, but yeah, Song TP out, and look top lane, maybe. He's forcing them back already again. Meanwhile, bottom lane is also being pushed out, so if they all TP top, then this tier 2 might take some extra damage, so this is just some very standard, very frustrating play from LGD for VG Gaming to deal with.
Yang is doing something which I like. He's taking a bit of a risk, and he's, pushing this bottom lane out by himself, but both Nyx Assassin and as well. That could have been potentially dangerous if this had been any other hero.
Speaking of risks, maybe he was farming. The only reason he's still alive was that it's nighttime right now, and HYM and DDC didn't see him farming on the low ground. Now,
HYM has the one item queued up that I think is gonna potentially help them win this game still, the Shadow Blade.
Yep.
They need pickoffs. They need pickoffs badly. They need to find Eld 11, because both of these heroes have just been way too safe this entire game. Like, for the past 15 minutes, I think, maybe hasn't died. Is that correct, actually? I think it is, actually. Yeah. He hasn't died in quite some time. I think the last time he died was in the huge engagement where they were chasing. So that was roughly 10-15 minutes ago.
It's been a while. All the time Midas has been going to. Let that fall a little bit. How many Midas do we have in this game, by the way? 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, only 3. So that's medium.
Not enough. Not enough
Midases.
I think DDC could have picked up a Midas as well. But I guess he never really got the farm to get the Midas. I mean, if you look at his items, I think it's pretty apparent that DDC has literally just been running around, sitting behind the carry.
It's gonna be like Puppy and don't give a damn. So yeah, just buy Midas, buy your items. Everyone else buy their own shit.
HYM, he wants them so badly.
Maybe it's quite fast, spamming some spells to keep the fire soul stack up. Don't think they're gonna actually reach him.
They're not gonna get him.
539 move speed. That's faster than max move speed used to be.
Yeah.
It's 11 now. Might be setting up for Yang. Oh, blinks away from the stun. And this is where you probably want to say, let's get the hell out of here.
He's turning around.
Yeah, they should get the hell out of there. Yeah, okay, aim. That's a level 3 song, so might as well throw it out.
The double TP to the bottom lane. And I guess this is also what LGD has going in favor. 2 BOTs. There's no BOT on VG Gaming side, which allows LGD to spread the map even more. Look at this. It's so simple, but now suddenly LGD is in the bottom half of the map already, spreading the illusions, farming, and VG Gaming, all they can do is just run towards them.
Like, if you were to take this game later, if you were to take the replay, you could take like the last 15 minutes, speed them up, and put the Benny Hill theme after it, because all of it is VG Gaming running from one side of the map to the other, trying to catch someone, anyone really, and never really getting anything.
Right. And I hope that I think Vici Gaming at this point just need to take more risks. Just they need to farm.
Well,
more.
HYM blink into the high ground. They don't actually see him, I believe, but well, he can get down any time he wants with a 4-star. Meanwhile, in the back though, AIM fighting against.
Oh, they have a disconnect.
Yeah. AIM was fighting up here, up against both End as well as DDC. Ollie took DDC down. Hasn't a song pressed right now, so End will not be able to kill him. No BKB or something to dodge that.
Look at the Earth Spirit. He literally just got stunned mid-roll.
Yeah, he looks
He's done
dead.
for.
Yeah.
He's definitely dead. HYM has a 4-staff available, blink in 4 seconds. I believe they do not know that he's up there.
They should.
Might
they
have
should.
seen the crush animation.
Yeah, might see the crush and Yao also
Corrosive Haze.
amplified up.
Oh, he's Corrosive Haze from up there as well.
They should know he's up there.
Yeah, alright.
At this point.
They could potentially kill him. They can't really get vision up there. They don't. They have a sentry, I guess.
Shivas gives vision, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, right. It gives vision. It should. Yeah. It should,
Alright, we'll find out what maybe does here. Shivas actually 4-stars down as the song comes through from AIM. They're just gonna call it quits with Ori popping the BKB.
They know where maybe is. They know where maybe is.
They went on 1, maybe. Oh, it's actually down bottom, yeah. Not even getting out. But yeah, these.
HYM wants him so badly.
Oh, he's
so
actually
close.
almost finds him, but now the turnaround with Laguna Blade. Couple of right clicks here, now it's HYM on the run. Chased away, but maybe. But now, Repel, maybe. Gonna have to do some nice dodging and keeping up the reactive arm stack so they do catch up with him, and yeah, he just denies himself. And he will be right back after 5 seconds, though.
And in the meantime, though,
0.
2 illusions and all the pushing up the top lane.
Alright, seems good. So overall, still I guess a fight favoring Vici Game. If it wasn't for this collateral damage here, and especially with this kill, can he time? He already used time lapse to just straight up die, and all of a sudden, well, maybe make an appearance here. Together with Ame joining Old 11, and that'll be a dead tier 3. Blink Crush will not save this. Another song comes out, so they can just walk away. Catching Ori here in the back. Dagger comes through, maybe, yeah, he's still amplified up, so he has to fight, and probably realizing that he's not going to be able to run away from that one. Oh, 20-second respawn now, so it's a little bit more bearable. But Bloodstone under 6 charges, that's might start to hurt a little bit.
And they ping out Roshan. Roshan is back, in fact, as well. Yeah. Like you said, since Lina's going to be back in 2 seconds now, there's not really much that Vici Gaming can do, especially since End is dead for another 25. Those are good kills, but ultimately, even killing the Lina doesn't really do too much for them just now, just because, like you said, she's pretty much never really dead for too long, and all the lanes are all constantly pushed out, so there's no objective to be taken for Vici Gaming unless they want to trade a tower for, say, Roshan or something. And it is, in fact, LGD that is going to take the Roshan, even though it's going to take them a little bit.
It's going to take them a while, but super safe here, especially with Old 11 having that Aghanim Scepter to work with now. You always have the song to fall back on. And the problem is, sure, you've got a BKB on Ori, you've got the Repel.
Well, they want to contest, but they're going to be too late.
Oh, yeah. If you mistime that Repel, if you're just going in, you might just end up isolating yourself. Just like this, the HYM, they can easily right-click away them if they wanted to, if they realize it, but it's dead now, walking up to the high ground. The Crush not gonna catch anybody. Victoria with the roll. Yang trying to find something, but Old 11 just sitting here to wait. Guardian Angel comes out and they're focusing on Victoria on the side. He should end up taking the spill unless he can make a miracle escape. Now, Ori, no mercy on him. So they get one, but it's only an Earth Spirit.
Pretty much, and again, there's not really much they can do. The bottom lane is already.
Yes.
They cannot really take anything. Like even if they found 2 kills, 3 kills, I'm not even sure they could have gone high ground unless they find the crucial kill, which is the Naga Siren.
Yeah. Even then, he's holding on to buyback.
I think Vici Gaming just need to play more aggressively like this. Ideally, they need to just leave one guy behind and that can push out one lane, but they really need all 5 to fight, and there's no
Blink
real
Crush to find maybe again. Old 11 is also here, misses a stun actually. Now setting himself up with that ultimate of his, but there's plenty of heroes around him with the amplified damage, and would have been able to finish him off. It wasn't for the rest of LGD looking scary, and now forced up into another crush here. The L11 will fall. Now maybe hexed up, but not before it can get the Laguna Blade off on Yang. Starting to drop very low. Gem on attack too, and now Ame looking to try and provide some extra damage of his own. And getting a kill. Big credit to team. Isolating the Slaughter in the back. And now Weaver. A lot of trouble here. Lincoln's popped. A lot of AoE damage. Silence throughout all of it, so no time lapse available.
That might
Victoria
be Rax.
setting up for, and he does have buyback, but the other two heroes don't, and yeah, they might be able to finish off another tier 3 at the very least. Ori, I don't think he's strong enough right now. There's another song
actually just
available.
Ame coming back into the fight with the Diffusal Blade. The Diffusal Blade was really huge.
Yeah.
Making sure they could isolate the Omni Knight, and nobody could help the Omni Knight as well. They immediately killed him, make sure that they deny the Guardian Angel. Or at least, he used it anyway, but all of his spells really. And he had to use everything defensively as well.
Yep. Well, LGD, they're committing for the Rex now. Ame with another song if they need it, but they do find a Phantom Assassin. A lot of damage being done, and the right clicks are enough despite the evasion. Now even the net on Crystal Main just ends up dying to maybe. Double kill for him. Took the melee Rex. Meanwhile, AIM, he's just doing objective-based gaming right up top. Another buyback from DDC. Ori also has it and uses it right now. But AIM, Rex gone, song, and leave. Get the hell out of there. But I think there was a bash on illusion. I heard the sound.
Yeah, it was a bash on illusion.
And
so he even expended a BKB charge for it. This is looking rough for Vici Gaming. There was what, 1 buyback, 2 buybacks? And look at, I mean, I'm not sure if you saw that, but did you see how long End took for the illusions? He spent a solid, what, 3-4 seconds on illusions and couldn't kill them.
Yeah.
Even though he had the whole swarm on him as well. And that's just how tanky these illusions are now. With the Diffusal Blade, with the Mantis Style, with the Octarine Core, they have so much armor, it makes it really difficult, or it's just really difficult to go through them. They have so many stats. And at this point, they need to find the main target, which is Ame, But I'm not even sure they can kill him.
Well, Crush, that's about it for Control. Just Mantis off the Amplify. And now they're setting up for some kills. They're perfectly set up for double stun here. But HOM gets a blink out and trying to stay in the sides. You have the silence though. Ame, oh god, actually, Ori going in straight on Ame. He cannot protect himself right now without a song, even with the BKB. So Ame might still end up falling, and he does. So that's a good trade so far. But Vici Gaming still lost 2 heroes, maybe staying alive until Ori can maybe get the jump on him, but he focuses on Yao. Shellgrave available after the Ghost Scepter if he wants to expand it for him. And doesn't actually get to because he gets bashed up, so it's a bit annoying. Ult 11, what are you doing? I don't think you want to do that. There's gems lying on the ground, and that'll lead to a kill on him. They might have to expend some buybacks here as Vici Gaming get a good series of pickoffs. Maybe still alive though, that's one of the important ones. Aim to spam down some spells to make Vici Gaming think twice.
And maybe with the Aegis coming back, he's going to chase this as well.
Oh, Ult 11 setting up the ultimate. A lot of damage being done to Omni Knight here. Plenty of follow-up control. Maybe he starts dropping lower and lower to Weaver, but ultimately they are not really faced by that. They know how far they can take it, and it's just not two-shotting people at this point.
And in the meantime, Vici Gaming lose the range tracks mid. I think this is pretty much... No, I'm not gonna call it just yet, but it's... Do we even dare look at the graph?
It's LGD's game to throw for sure. I mean, graph's not actually all that crazy, especially after that last one. Not even hitting the 10k mark. Experience even in favor of Vici Gaming. Yeah, but because essentially it's only Ame and Maybe who are so far ahead.
Right.
And both Yao and Victoria, their net worth combined is net worth of the Slaughter essentially.
To be fair though, Old 11 did have a Midas. He's also not far behind really. He's 20. He's level 20. But yeah, I don't know. In total, Vici Gaming just don't have the tools really to really continuously fight LGD. Yeah, it worked out just now, but that's because the LGD wasn't even fighting as 5.
Full DDC. Would have settled from Old 11 and then the illusion helping to finish him off. And what do you do now? 2 heroes down. Mid and top are being pushed in by super creeps and illusions. TPN as with the setup. HYM, well,
I believe that's GG.
Should be GG No one has buyback.
Yeah.
And there it is.
It looked so promising. Minute 16, when they cleaned up house,
Yeah.
they completely wiped LGD almost twice. That was... It looked so good for Vici Gaming, but I think LGD does a really good job this game of spreading the map, making sure they don't get caught out, making sure they farm on the core heroes, and ultimately Vici Gaming just didn't have an answer to the Naga Siren, which I think also comes back to the draft. It was a good draft from
Yeah.
LGD, picking the Naga Siren 4th, and knowing that Vici Gaming, there was no hero that they could pick that would immediately counter the Naga Siren.
Yeah, I mean, LGD's lineup worked very well, and they played it super great as well because they, up until minute 20, they were very aggressive. It bit them in the ass a couple of times, but they still managed to create a lot of space for Ame to get the ratings up. And at that point, the timer starts ticking. VG Gaming didn't have a lot of opportunity after that, um, because, as you touched on in the game as well, they had no way to control the lanes. They couldn't really get across the map to actually put things into objectives, even if they got a kill or two. So LGD Gaming set themselves up quite well for this Naga Siren to work out exactly how it should work in the textbook.
Pretty much, and the Lina pick especially, I think, was also really really good. Like we pointed out numerous times, the minus respawn talent is really strong and makes it so that if you do lose that Lina, even on the side lane, it doesn't really matter that much. She's going to be back pretty quickly, and maybe has had a phenomenal game as well. But I think, to me, I'm not even sure if I would call him the MVP. I think the supporting cast entirely. I mean, Old 11, Victoria, they played a really good game of making sure they, apply a lot of pressure, or in those team fights, crucial silences, crucial disables. But overall, I think it was just a team effort. LGD, just a really solid draft, just really solid execution.
All right, so they get themselves one very important point for them. VG Gaming dropped this game, but this is the best of two series, or two best of ones, whatever you prefer. Which means we're going to see them clash up again in just a couple of moments' time, so don't go too far away.